Hey, what's going on, everybody? As I discussed in my last video, I am back the day after my last video posted, and as I had mentioned, my steering stabilizer, steering dampener had arrived just before I left on my trip, and so now I'm back and it's time to go ahead and install the stabilizer. So let's go ahead and see what we're about to install. All right, here we are. I'm going to be installing the Falcon Nexus EF 2.2 Fast Adjust Steering Stabilizer for the stock tie rod. Now, this is basically what comes in it. So you got the documentation, you got the stabilizer itself, and also the hardware. Now, I've already kind of went through this, so you get the thank you here. And you also get, some signatures because it's hand built in West Jordan, Utah. So that's pretty cool. Some stickers if you want to throw them on. A little bit of advertisements, and then this is what I thought was cool. It tells you all the wrenches that you're going to need, and I had not necessarily seen this on every one. That's explicitly detailed for the product itself. At least on some of the Synergy ones, they mentioned that you would have to drill things out, but not necessarily the tools that you are going to need with installing that. But so the first step is to go ahead and center the steering and the wheels before you start installation. And from I had everything dialed in perfectly, but as soon as I got to the alignment, the wheels are good, everything looks good there, but I got to straighten up the steering wheel because it's about at 12:30, 1 o'clock. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. So I've now straightened up my steering wheel, and the steering and everything is perfect, exactly where I want it. And went ahead and tightened down my steering back to, torqued it down to 90 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the, not the factory stabilizer, it might be the factory, but I'm going to remove the old one. So now that we got the old hardware off, and just so you guys know, got a little sweat going on. Just so you know, the bolts that I had installed on the old one was to the old dampener itself. I'm going to be using the Synergy parts that I got with the steering link and the drag link that I installed first. So next step is to go ahead and install the stabilizer and hand tighten the nuts. So let's go ahead and see what hardware comes in here. All right, here's the dampener itself. I got firm, medium, and soft as a selectable. I got the hardware pieces and various hardware to go ahead and install this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up, and then we're going to go ahead and install this and put the hand tighten everything down. All right, let's send it. All right, change of plans. So the instructions in Synergy, when they were originally written for the steering dampener, was actually Fox. And now I recommend Falcon, so it has a different installation. So before I get into seeing if we're actually going to install this or not, I got to first see if this thing is going to be able to match on top of the Synergy piece right here, because this is supposed to go onto the stock drag link, or tie rod, that is. Let's take this to the vise. All right, I was able to go ahead and get it on with the clamp, and let me show you what I did. Basically, I bolted it, tightened it all the way through. I put some Loctite, some antifreeze in there. And so I tightened it all the way down to where it was coming through here. And then, if you can kind of see, I basically just backed it out a smidget just so that it was just past the arc there, and it won't interfere with anything else or dig in. Not that it would matter that much once I get this tightened down pretty good, but that's what I did. So since I was able to get this part on, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, so this is the mounting hardware that came with this. Temporarily, I need to go ahead and install this real fast. Next, I need to go ahead and mark it where I'm going to be drilling. Next, I need to go ahead and drill to 7/16. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. All right, let's see how this Harbor Freight drill bit does. I may have to make it a 3 steps depending on how well this is going to cut. All right, what's going on, everybody? We got the holes. I did a test fit. Everything's fitting up just good. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and paint this just for rust prevention. And as a matter of fact, this particular VHT epoxy paint, what I'm going to be using is rust and salt resistant. So that's good for the San Diego climate. And also it says no primer needed, but I always know it's recommended to use primer when it allows for it. And since it says it's only not needed, but doesn't say like don't use it, I'm going to go ahead and use the primer I got. All right, let's send it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I was actually in between the different painting coats. I was trying to like play around with the different settings here and seeing if I could even budge this or anything. And not even on the softest, I can't even move this at all. And since right now it's at fully extended, when I go ahead and install this, what I'm going to do, actually when I turn off the camera, I'm going to go ahead and turn the wheels all the way to the left. So when it installs and I clamp this down, it's already at fully extended, and I shouldn't have any issues from that point on as far as being able to go all the way left or right, but I'll still test it when I'm done just to make sure. All right, let's do this next step. All right, so painting was a little extra of a step, but hopefully you still got enough light to see what I'm doing here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and install this one first, just because I don't have a wrench that's 16 millimeters. That's telling me I need to go get some more tools. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and use this long nose lock vise. All right, we got it tightened down pretty good. Now it's time to go ahead and torque everything down to spec, which spec is going to be Need to torque everything down to 40 foot-pounds. All right, everything's tied down to torque spec. And now the next thing is to do is go ahead and rotate the steering wheel from left to right and see how it goes. And to be honest, I'm glad I'm taping this, because I would have to do this anyways because I don't have a second set of eyes. All right, let's send it. What's going on, everybody? So I went for a test drive after the last clip. It's actually the next day right now, the next morning, and the test drive was unsatisfactory. So what we're about to do is it's actually starting to kind of mist right now. I hope it doesn't rain. But basically, what the issue was is, as I was turning, the steering stabilizer would go up and start pushing up into the radiator. So let me go show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you 3 steps. I'm going to show you where it was when I originally set it. I'm going to show you the middle where the wheels are dead in the middle, and then I'm going to show you where they are with the wheel all the way to the right. All right, let's send it. All right, here we are on wide view, and I got the wheels all the way turned to the left. So let's go here. So you can see already where the medium right there was basically pushing up into the radiator right here. And as this goes down, it basically pushes this thing up. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here real fast. All right, now I got the wheels turned all the way straight, and you can see it's just right there, kind of already starting to push up into the radiator. So I know I was saying I was going to basically show you where it was all the way to the right, but I'm not going to go ahead and do that. What we are going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, is I'm going to go ahead and loosen up all these Allen wrench bolts right here, and then I'm going to push the steering stabilizer back so that it more closely lines up with this and makes this a little bit more horizontal. And we're going to see if that fixes the issue. I anticipate it will, but we'll see. All right, let's send it. So I had a concern about whether the Falcon shock would probably, depending on how it moved with the rest of the linkages, maybe it might rub on something when I get into full articulation or into full flex. So there aren't many options here in SoCal where I can actually go and test that. So I just pulled off to just off the side of the freeway, not on the freeway, it was actually off the freeway, and found a place where a little bank to where I can kind of put my wheel up. And so I was happy to see that when I did get into articulation, that the stabilizer was moving with the rest of the linkages, and I didn't have any worry on anything's rubbing where I didn't want it to. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So it has been a couple of days since I've been driving on the I put about 100 miles on the new steering stabilizer since the last clip you just saw, and I definitely have made the decision that I was thinking about waiting about a month or so before I put the new steering box in, but I'm probably going to wait about 2, 3, maybe 4, and until I get the PSC Poly Performance steering, power steering pump and reservoir, because as soon as I put that steering stabilizer onto medium and definitely on firm, the steering pump starts to whine. So I'm going to wait till I can kind of do that all as one system upgrade, and then hopefully eliminate that whine, since the Poly Performance steering pump is supposed to have better pressure at the lower end. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I do have another gremlin I'm going to have to sort of chase down. I think it's in a toe adjustment. If it ends up being anything significant worth of video for, I'll go ahead and do it. But I think it's just going to be a little adjustment on the toe. After the alignment shop, they had me basically straightforward instead of being about 1/16 to maybe 1/32 towed inwards from the front of the vehicle. And I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and that should fix my sort of steering, as it seems to just want to dig in a little too fast from side to side. But the steering is definitely a lot more stable than it ever has been since owning the vehicle, so I'm very happy with it, and I'm pretty excited to get it out onto somewhere. It's getting a little hot in the desert, so maybe I'll be going up to Big Bear or something. We'll see. But I'll be looking forward to test that out here in the next couple of months. But anyways, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I got a few other projects planned that I'll probably be getting to maybe this weekend, so I don't anticipate getting another video out this week. Maybe we'll see. More than likely next week though. Yeah. Oh, hey, hummingbird. Not sure if you guys were able to see that or not. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.